All right, guys, what's up? Let's see if we're live. Make sure we have sound. Okay, looks like everything is going. So what's up, guys? My name is Cliff with the Creators Cup. If you're new to our channel or if you're just turning this on, this is actually our first live stream. We're going to go over some of the videos we put out in the past, some of the reviews we've done, and also a lot of your guys' comments, and some of them we have not answered. We're going to see if we can answer those now and go over that kind of stuff. Other than that, if you guys have any questions at all, or if you tune in at any time, feel free to drop it in the comments and we will see if we can address it. I kind of plan on leaving this up because I don't expect this to have a really big turnout as the first go around, but I do want to leave this up for later reference for people that want to check out, you know, the answer to their comments in the past. And we'll try to do this on a regular basis as well. So yeah, let's just get right into the first set. So we did a video a while back. Okay, let's go here, pop in there. We did a video a while back on the A7S III versus the R5. And one of the big issues I think that we had against those two, like they're two different cameras, really for two different things. The comment board was very heated. There were several hundred on there, and I think, you know, the fanboys of Sony were fans of Sony. The fanboys of Canon, well, they were doing their Canon thing. So they're two different cameras. The Canon R5 and the R6, they're both photography-based cameras with the ability to do video and do a really good job at it. The Sony A7S III is just really designed for video and not much else. So we're actually on the A7 III, which is the older version, and it does an amazing job. It's a good photography camera, but it's mainly a really good video camera. And I think that's kind of the big difference here. So a couple of the comments, if we scroll down through. So somebody's talking here, he said, great video. I've heard that more megapixels for video isn't always better, but never understood why. Thanks for explaining. He's been using the Canon 80D. Okay. So the big thing that we were trying to point out in this video was that if there's more megapixels, each one is smaller, and that just means that it's going to capture less light. And that was really the only point we were trying to make. And I think people don't realize 4K video, for example, which is what the A7 III has, or A7S III rather, doesn't use more than about, I think, 10 or 11 megapixels in the video feed. So anything other than that, it's actually going to have more trouble processing. It's going to overheat, which is a problem. And it will make those pixels smaller because you have to squeeze more in there. So that was really the main point of the video. Here we go. Let's see. Thanks so much for the insight. What's the best vlogging lens you would recommend for the A7 III for between $500 to $800? Well, right now I'm on the A7 III, and we are using the Sony just G series lens. It's the 20mm f1.8. It is an amazing lens. I really love it. And for vlogging type work, it's really, really wide. So right now the camera is a little further than arm's reach. If I come all the way in here, you'll see about how far away it is. It's a nice wide lens. It shows everything, and it allows you to show off products if you want to do that kind of stuff and make the focus work. It's the usual annoying YouTube work. So yeah, that is honestly, I would say the best lens. There is the G Master it's the 24mm, but it's like, I think $1,600. This one is $899 right now, and with Black Friday sales, you could probably get it for $700 or $800. And I absolutely love this lens. So actually, one thing I want to point out, we were going to start this stream at about 10 o'clock this morning, and we recently made an upgrade to our computer. We were using the, what do they call those? The RTX 5700 graphics card in our computer for editing, which Adobe and AMD, they do not get along very well, at least their graphics cards. So we made an upgrade, and we went and got the 3070 kind of by accident, honestly. I went to Micro Center, and they just got a shipment in when I went to take the other one back. Worked out really, really well. It's a great, great card. Now, I will say this. We were going to start at 10 o'clock this morning, but it did not happen, and that's why we're running so far behind, because the computer kept crashing. Something that was going on with this card was causing this computer to crash, and I was getting like the blue screen of death. I think it's because I was trying to run it at around 30 frames per second, and I think maybe there was an issue between that and the ATEM Mini, which is right down here. I think they were interfering with each other. We finally got it working. I think we figured it out, but be aware, those new graphics cards are still going to have their bugs, and do your testing before you go online. There is a chance that this stream might cut out. If it does, we'll try to get back up as quickly as possible. But that's what happened, and that's why we are a couple hours late. So let's go back to the comments on the next video. There are several others in that video, but it's been out for a while, so I don't really want to dive too far into that. It'll just get boring and drag out. Oh, here we go. So we had the video, the Hollyland versus the Zion transmission transmitter, I think is what it was called. It was quite a name. So we did this video, and neither one of these units were actually sent out to us. Most of the gear we review anymore, they've actually been sent out to us. And this video, we had bought both devices and we were trying them out. It really did not work out very well. It was honestly pretty bad with the Zion, because anytime we tried to connect, we had interference issues, we had signal issues, we had to do the thing where you plug the two devices together, and that was problematic. And to be totally fair, there may have been some like firmware issues, and they may have fixed that since then, but at the time it was really a hassle. Now the Hollyland Mars 300s we were able to use flawlessly. They just worked. We didn't have any issue at all. Not saying that the Zions are total junk, but at the time the ones we got were absolute junk. So yeah, I took that route. I called them junk many times in the video, and I'm pretty sure people were a little upset because it was mixed comments across the board. Let's see. Let's go find a negative comment, because they happen. Let's see. I bet you don't even excuse me. Oh wait, I gotta say the name here. So this comment right here is by Joe Mama. Nice. That's real classy. Anyway, his comment: I bet you don't even realize there's a Wi-Fi channel selector in the YZ app, or ZY app, that shows you what channels are crowded and which ones aren't. So you can select a less crowded channel to clear up the ghosting. Not sure why people complain about products when they don't even take the time to read the instructions. Well, okay, we did read the instructions. We actually tested out a lot. We didn't spend 6 months with it, to be totally fair. When I buy something like that, I want it to work, and I don't want to spend a lot of time messing with it. And we could have probably called tech support and fought with it for a while longer, and it may have worked. So to be fair, we probably should have spent a little more time testing that equipment out. But I give everything about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks of testing, if I don't find a solution, I'm pretty much done with it, because we have so much going on. And in the camera gear world, as a lot of you may know, there is a lot of gear. You have a lot of equipment. And if 1 in 5 pieces of equipment fails randomly, you're out of luck. Like, everything needs to work all of the time. So for us, it just didn't make sense. As something getting started, sure. And if you're going to transmit straight to your phone, it's half the price. It goes straight to your phone, and it does hook right on the Weeble S, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, there's that. Let's see if we have any other questions on here. Let's see. Okay, we have Shooters Media Group here saying, I just sent back the transmission system transmitter receiver due to a lot of ghosting and motion blur. Not so bad on a phone, but not good enough to accurately pull focus. Way too much ghosting. Let's see. Well, we're not going to read our response, but the ghosting is basically the image. Everything is really compressed. So if you start moving around really fast, some of this doesn't really happen yet, and you get like this blockiness. And if you're pulling focus and you have a subject that's like, that is walking across and they're ghosting, or if they're walking to you, you're not going to be able to get a good focus on them. You're going to run into some issues. Honestly, the $200 to $400 transmitters aren't great for pulling focus anyway, unless you pretty much know where your subject's going to go. So, wait, I'm sorry, we got a comment. Dr. Strange, what's up? Have you ever set up cameras to do the matrix effect? That's cool. So that is the effect where you're trying to like rotate in a circle, and so you have somebody like freeze and then the camera like goes around them. I haven't tried it. I want to. It usually takes a lot of cameras or some kind of rigging for the individual themselves. So actually, we'll be playing with this guy here in a minute. I got this dip crane. You could take something like this potentially, if it's really, really, really smooth, and you could rig this up at home. Like, I got a really, really good deal on this, but you could take this and swing it around the subject. So if you go around the subject at high speed, they could kind of freeze their movement, and it wouldn't be too bad. Oh, there's the Ronin wanting to go to sleep. Let's put the Ronin to bed. So yeah, you could use that. You could accomplish something with some kind of movement, but really the only way to do it affordably is to have your subject just freeze in place and fake it as much as possible. Or if you could do some kind of masking, again, you're going to need them to freeze though, because you're trying to rotate around. Yes, they were. So multiple cameras are set up in a circle. You would need, just to get, say, I don't know, if you're trying to, so you have the full circle here. We're gonna do this. If you're trying to go 180 degrees, you're gonna need, I would say, at least 8 cameras around that. And then yeah, they'd be meshed together into a video, and they would all be recording. Really, these don't need to record as much here, but the ones on the two ends do, the start and stop cameras. The problem that you're going to run into is they all need to be pretty similar cameras and lenses, because if there's any variation at all, it's going to be an issue. If you're going to do this, it's going to be expensive. The best way I would say to do it is to go rent some cameras. Maybe start by renting like 3 or 4 just cheaper cameras, like A6000s or something like that if you're a Sony fan, or M50s if you're a Canon fan. Just something like that, and then test it out. You could try it with cell phones, like as a proof of concept if you got some buddies around. Actually, that might be fun. I'll give you a shout if we try that. I'm gonna have to get some people together and have similar phones. So that's about the only thing I could think of. But yeah, the right way to do it is to mash them together, for sure. So let's go over here for a second. So the last video we actually did, we did a bunch of masking on it. Let's see here. Yeah, no problem on the answer on that. And 3D videos, I honestly don't know much about 3D videos, so I'm not going to speak too much on that. That's not something I've really been into. You just need what they call stereo, which essentially just means you need 2 cameras and 2 lenses. I don't see any reason why you couldn't take 2 cameras and strap them together and do that. Actually, another fun effect, if you have 2 cameras with 2 different lenses, is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie 300. You can take 2 cameras. I think they did this with the Arri Alexas, but like with 3 or 4. But you can take 2 cameras with like one with a wide lens and one with like a zoom lens, and you film a scene, and then you can in post punch in and out and back and forth between those 2. So that's another fun thing to try, just on a side note. But yeah, as far as 3D, I haven't really messed with that too much. So this video, on this light. I'm going to go here. Hopefully it doesn't like give me a hassle trying to do videos on videos. So we did this little intro. Back it up. And this required a lot of masking, right? So on the intro of this thing, we used a DeWalt drill to spin that light in circles. And when you're talking about trying to get crazy scenes like and to do it on a budget, you either have to go like frame by frame, or you're going to have to, you know, have something to mask out. In this case, we had a black background and we just like duplicated the backgrounds from either side so that you didn't have to do as much work, because masking frame by frame is terrible. So yeah. Anyway, let's get back on the comments. We're going to go to video here. Fire this guy back up. That is, if anyone's wondering now or in the future, because I don't think there's much people on right now, but that is a Ronin M that is attached to the end of a jib crane. It's a fun setup. Amazon sells a little adapter for your Ronin where you can actually just clip it right on top, and then you can take the Ronin off of the dual handlebars and just snap it onto a tripod or a jib, or we actually put it on a forklift, and I think it was our bin box review. Actually, speaking of bin box, I had a question the other day on that. Let me get to that real quick. The bin box review, where are you at? Here we go. So the bin box, which is this little guy. I'm going to be the weird YouTuber that holds things in front of you again. Yeah, this little guy right here, it is not wanting to focus. My camera is fighting me really, really hard. Oh, I need to set the focus back to the center. But anyway, this thing, we're just going to say this. It's a little camera transmitter that goes out to your cell phone. It's like $100. It's pretty nice, honestly. It's not super like high end or fancy or anything like that, but it does the job and it really just seems to work. That's one advantage. So the comment we had on that, I saw the other day. Let's see. No, I don't know where it went. Anyway, he was asking if it will do audio, and no, it will not, at least not from our experience. We weren't able to get it to work for any type of audio transmission. So yeah, that is one downside, I will have to say. Honestly, though, any of these smaller 2 cell phone only transmitters, I think audio is not to be expected, and you're just getting an image that you can show, you know, a client for smaller projects, or to have somebody else, you know, your director or whoever, just keeping an eye on what's going on. Anything beyond that, you're going to want to get something nicer. And actually, on that note, we'll go back to the jib crane for just a second here. Loosen the brakes a little. So if you can see, I'll just put it right over there for now. If you can see on top of that, I have, let me walk it down. I have the Cine i2 Pro, which is an Axon. Oh, we're flying here. That's not good. I think that'll stay. So that is an Axon transmitter. It's the Cine i2 Pro. It's kind of hard to see, unfortunately. I didn't do a very good job of getting that in the light, but it's right up here. Actually, maybe you can see this one better. Here's the receiver. There we go. Something like this, it's about $600. It is really, really nice. We did a whole review on this. We went through like the train tunnel and all that crazy stuff. But if you're going to be serious about needing audio transmission, which it does, someone asked me that too, it does audio transmission, and serious about pulling focus, you might even need something a step above that if you're really serious about pulling focus, because there is a little delay. But that transmitter is a great way to go, and honestly, at that price, it's really hard to beat. But yeah, the little transmitters, they'll get you by for a while, but honestly, we never really use them anymore. That one also, the Cine I, also transmits to phones as well as a receiver, which is amazing. All right, Doctor Strange, what's up? What do you got here? I was watching on Vox that they have a spinning rig of death to make a cool video of ice falling into a glass of vodka or something. Have you done something similar? And last question, which smartphone has the best camera in your opinion? Whew. All right, let's start with a spinning rig of death. I have not, but now I want to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, so I actually recently bought just cheap on Amazon, like 10 bucks, some turntable setups. And then we got this jib crane because we're talking about trying to do a lot more of motion and product type work. One of the channels I follow, and if you haven't seen him, is Daniel Schiffer. He's amazing. I love what he does. You should definitely check him out. Definitely an inspiration. So he does a lot of the stuff where things are spinning and like makes these crazy, crazy videos. Can't post a YouTube link. I will have to Google it. Maybe I can find it on my end here in a second. So yeah, he does a lot of that stuff, and he's definitely given us some inspiration. He's kind of where I got the idea to do the little spinning light thing. It's just, I like that style. It's a really cool style. And with Instagram right now, you have those Instagram Reels. Instagram Reels are an amazing, amazing tool that are really untapped. It's only 15 seconds. It doesn't take that much to make a 15-second video. And yeah, that's a great place to try your hand. You're pretty much guaranteed to get at least 500 to 1,000 views, even if you're really, really small, just because not that many people have taken advantage of it yet. So combine that with these fun little spinning crazy videos and yeah, you come up with some cool stuff for sure. How robots make this commercial look effortless. All right, so I'll look that up real quick. I'm not going to play it on my multicam. I'll look it up, but I'm not actually going to show it because I don't know if YouTube will like that very much. Let's see. How robots make this commercial. All right, I'm gonna watch this. You guys, oh well, that camera's over there now. it's over here. I want to check this out. I got to see this real quick. Oh, it's 8 minutes. I'm just gonna skip ahead. Oh yeah, so they have these spinning like turntable effects with drinks. Let's see. Yeah, this guy, I think I recognize this guy. I can't remember his name, but he is amazing. If you remember his name, let me know. He has this Cinnabot business. He does all these kinds of commercials. These bots are like $100-some thousand. But again, check out Daniel Schiffer because he does a lot of this type of stuff. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be quite as advanced, but he does it in his living room, and it's insane. So yeah, I've seen his work before, mostly like food videos where they have like the robot like going into like a water tank and doing all this crazy stuff with fruits and things for food and drinks. So yeah, it's pretty wild. I really want to build a cinema bot, by the way. That's something I might try to do on here. That's kind of what's happening back here. This is just playing around. I have a background in engineering type work, so I think that's coming. I'm debating on whether trying to find like an old industrial robot that's just been like scrapped and then see if we can make something out of it. I don't know how good it's going to be though at like smooth start and smooth stop. That's my only concern because while you can get those for a relatively low price used like on eBay, they're designed to like go from one point to the next point to the next point and not necessarily really smooth. Andrino, possibly. Honestly, I haven't messed with it a lot. You would need powerful motors, so maybe you could figure out a way how to combine that software with something bigger, like the Raspberry and that stuff. Yeah, so you might be able to combine that and make it work. That would be fun. I'm looking forward to trying that out very soon. And it's winter here. I'm here in Ohio, and it's terrible outside, so it's a great excuse to build something here in the studio. So yeah, we'll definitely be making videos about that when we get to that part for sure. I'm gonna put this this thing out of the way. It's making me nervous back here. 2 seconds. light. There we go. So, and by the way, yes, so I was talking about that's the Ronin M. You can use the controller, which is right here with the Ronin. It's an old gimbal. I actually sold one of these the other day. I bought this one as well, but they go for like $250 right now. They're pretty amazing. There is a bit of a learning curve with them, but yeah, being able to like control the camera and like just point it at random things is nice for any kind of motion control work. And that gives you a little idea of what's behind the scenes here. So yeah, let's talk about that while we're here. So what we are using, for anyone that wants to know now or in the future, we're using a Sony a7 III with right here, let me get to where I'm actually kind of in the frame. So we have the 20mm f1.8 G lens, which we just acquired not too long ago. Absolutely love that lens. It's relatively new. See if I can turn, yeah, I can put myself up there in the corner. So we're using that. What I'm running as a switcher down here is the ATEM Mini. Honestly, you can get a capture card for like $200, but you can get the ATEM Mini now for like, I think $250 or $300, and they're back in stock most places too. Sorry, I need my caffeine. But yeah, so we're running that camera into an ATEM Mini. That also goes out into this View R5, which we did a review on that as well. Then we have on the actual Ronin back here, I have an A6300. So I'm going to switch back to this angle. So this is an A6300 with a 28mm f2. It's one of Sony's cheaper, honestly, really versatile little lenses though. Well, there's a crop factor on that, so it's probably more like a 40-ish millimeter. And that's running in on the Ronin into the Axoon Sena i2 Pro, which again is transmitting back down here to this receiver, and that's going into channel 2 on our ATEM Mini right here. So that's what's running this dual cam setup. And then we have a TV in the background, which is something I learned from Gerald Undone, who is another amazing YouTuber that you need to watch if you don't. They are going to just make me look terrible. They're awesome. So anyway, so we have this TV in the back, and this lets me see things. So if I'm actually doing a video, so if I blow this up, this is OBS I have running. That's what I'm using my software. What I'm seeing, you can't really tell with this camera, but what I see directly behind me is myself or whatever products it is that I'm holding. All right, I don't know if we are back up or not. I don't know if it let me do that. So yeah, the computer crashed. I've got my laptop over here, fortunately, that's kind of letting me do some other things. So yeah, it looks like we are good. I'm going to turn my own audio on for a second. See if I can hear me. This is a problem. Yeah, we got audio. Okay. All right. Good, good, good. So yeah, this is a problem. We just bought this GeForce RTX 3070. This guy from Micro Center. Not Micro Center's fault, because they're actually pretty amazing as far as support. But these have been really, really popular. I actually didn't really go to buy it on purpose. I said earlier in the video I bought this because, well, yeah, I had an AMD RTX 5700 XT, and that thing was making Premiere lose its mind. It was just going crazy. So I got to bring YouTube back up too, guys. I don't have my chat boards up here. Just a moment. Let me get this up here. And okay, let's see. Can I go in here and edit this one? There we go. Now I'm back on the chat as well. So anyway, It looks like it's working. Yeah, we're good. It's so frustrating. This thing is crashing like crazy. I've had this computer shut down like 7 or 8 times today. We were supposed to start at 10 o'clock, like I said earlier, but that did not happen because of some kind of glitch. So yeah, we're gonna see about, you know, I guess we're gonna replace it. I don't know, software updates. Hopefully, maybe there's a setting we missed. If anyone watches this now or in the future and has any idea how to fix that, that would be really, really helpful. But yeah, looks like I might be making a trip to Micro Center after this. It's a pain. So let's go back to what we were doing before that happened and make sure you test your hardware before you get too invested into it. It's the lesson learned there. I'm gonna pull up YouTube Studio again here. Oh, actually, so yeah, let's go back to what we were discussing. So yeah, as far as our setup, what we have here, man, it just throws you off when you have stuff like that happen. So we're using a TV behind the camera, and that actually gives us something to actually see yourself. You can actually see your eyes like right above the top edge of the camera. So if you catch yourself looking away, because one of the biggest issues we run into, and we edited a couple other YouTube channels and they run into, is they like to look at their monitor a lot. So when they're on here, they'll be talking, but they'll be looking at their monitor the whole time, checking themselves out, and that's no good. So what we actually did is we put the TV screen behind the actual camera. So if you do look and see if everything looks okay, you're not really trailing that far off the lens. The downside is you kind of have to train yourself not to look more than you need to, because you can still notice it, especially if people are watching it in 4K or on a larger screen. So other than that, we have this, which we picked up a while back that we use for all of our videos. So it's the X-Ray color checker. This is for video. They had the little passports. I didn't actually get the passport because it's really small and we're moving around a lot, and that I felt like was an issue. We're mostly doing studio stuff. And I could just throw this on the shelf and not have to worry about it. And also, well, it was out of stock at the time, to be totally honest, but I think this has been one of the biggest things we could have done for our video. This has had the most improvement over anything that we've done by far, because our biggest issues in the past have been color. I mean, we've had a lot of issues with color when we first started, especially trying to blend multiple cameras together. And it's really hard to do. So you pick up one of these. It's expensive. It's like $100 for what's essentially like, it's like a piece of cardboard. It's plasticky cardboard, but yeah. You pick up one of these, and then you go to Leeming Lutz. So I can't remember the guy's name. It was Paul Leeming or something like that. Gerald Undone recommended him. So you go to Leeming Lutz, and you can buy Lutz from him, which I don't usually recommend Lutz, but in this case, it's for camera matching. It's a color correction LUT, not a color grade LUT. He has color grades too, but the color correction is what's key. So you go there, Leeming Lutz, Leeming Lutz. Just Google it, YouTube, whatever, you'll find it. Buy the LUTs for your camera. Now that's probably another 20 or 30 bucks, but you can use it like on all the Sony series cameras, for example, or Canons. You can buy them for that camera. We actually got it for our cameras, so we can use it on our A7 III, and then back here on our A6300. And we also got one for our drone and our GoPro. So we can blend all that footage together very seamlessly. And another big advantage to Leeming Lutz, so one thing we really, really liked about it, is he actually sets it up and like gives you a PDF, which you can go to his site and get that for free to show you how to set up the camera to get the most out of it and how to expose to get the most out of it. And it's really straightforward, and it just gives you the information you need. So you can go there, you get that PDF, like I said, you can get it for free just to check that out. I think it's just right there on the download, and then buy the LUT if you like what you see. And it tells you how to set up your camera. Like, we've been using cameras for a long time, but I actually was like, you know what, let's give this a chance. I ended up resetting everything on our cameras and starting from there. And it's a great baseline. Like, I'm not ashamed to admit that. Like, I like what he did. It's great. He knows more than I do clearly about color. So I took his advice, and it's made a huge improvement in our videos. Now these live streams, we actually took his LUT and then I modified it with a PNG using Photoshop and then applied it to OBS to get the color grade you're seeing now on this live feed. So I can actually turn that off and on by going to OBS, right click on your input and go to filters. So here is a light color correction. This is very minimal. If I turn this off, that's just going to adjust the brightness a little. But here's the difference between out of camera and HLG3 and then turning that LUT back on. So this stuff is all really, really straightforward. You can figure this out in, a couple hours or a day if you don't have much experience. And it will change your footage so much more than buying a new camera or a new lens or whatever. Just get the camera you have working right before you consider buying another one. Those purchases, while they don't seem very exciting, it's a piece of cardboard and some software that most of us don't even really understand. They're incredibly helpful to your footage. So yeah, that's I think I went off on a trail there, but that is most of our setup. Oh, so lighting, that's the other thing to talk about. So this is going to be blinding. What we got here, I'll get to audio in a second. We'll take a ride for a moment here. We'll just leave it on that camera. So we're going to take a walk around the back, so bear with me. We cruise over here. It's going to be a little shaky. Oh yeah, there's the computer build we just did. But if we look on the back, it's kind of hard to see. But what that is a Godox Vl 150. Those just came out pretty recently. The VL 150 is a fantastic light. It was like $400, and the V is in reference to the fact that you can put a V-mount battery on it. And the 150 is plenty bright enough, but you get that, you'll want a C-stand. Don't put these kind of lights on those cheap stands. Just, I hate to say it, but spend the money on a C-stand. It's one of the best things you'll ever buy. You'll never go back after. But then we also bought that nice photo, I think it's a 42 or 48 inch softbox. And I love it. It also comes with a grid. I just don't use the grid in this spot. But yeah, that thing is amazing. So that's how we get the nice soft light. And then other than that, we have these, which you probably will recognize if you've done this for very long. Just the good old SL60Ws. Those are also made by Godox. They're like $100 a piece right now, and those things are fantastic. So 2 of those to light up our background. We do that, and then I have a Rode NTG2, which you can buy used pretty cheap right now. And then just any kind of audio recorder. We're using a Zoom H6 over here. So that's basically our full setup. Come back over to the desk. So yeah, that's basically our full setup and what we're using. Let's move this over. Okay. So, haven't had any more flickering on my screen. That was actually my first sign when this computer crashed, was we had flickering. And fortunately, it doesn't seem like we're going to get any more of that. Maybe it's a conflict, I don't know, with some other software. I don't really know yet. So for the sake of people that may watch this video later on, I did say I was going to address some comments. I'm going to go ahead and go through a few more. So let's go back over here to the computer for a moment. I am grabbing the wrong mouse. So if I go to videos here, and YouTube Studio, we go to comments. Let's check out the DeskView R5, see if we have any comments there that we haven't responded to. Oh, that was nice of you. Thank you, guys. We really do appreciate any kind of comments. And if you are maybe one person that's watching, feel free to comment now and we'll see what we can do if you have any questions. Okay, I have a comment right here I just talked to the other day. Wow. Johan Vander Mirway? I'm sorry, I don't have that one. Um, so someone can correct me on that. Of course, it's hard to do via text. But Johan, yeah, the SD card on my DeskView R5 actually seems to work quite well. So I used it. Let me turn the control back on here. Down here, you guys can probably see this is the R5. I use this thing for my in-studio work because honestly, in studio, this is a great monitor, but out in the field, it's not. It's not, excuse me, super bright in daylight. I have an iCan monitor that I use for daylight type stuff outside. I mean, this one does work, don't get me wrong, but it's not just as bright. For an in-studio, it's fantastic. You can apply the same LUTs like from Leeming LUTs. You can put them right on the SD card, go in there and select them. It's a little confusing, but you can do that, and then you can actually apply those LUTs to it. It worked with my SD card. I will say they were kind of cheapo SDs that came with it, so you could probably just use one out of your camera. I think it actually up. All right, I think we're back again. So I'm not going to stay on here much longer because that is really frustrating. That 3700 is crashing again and again and again. I just saw some more flicker on the bottom of my screen and we just turned back on. I don't know why that's happening. If I find out, which I will eventually figure out what happened, I'll let you guys know. As far as what we were doing before we left, so yeah, we were talking about the SD card on the DeskView R5. Mine worked fine. You might try a different SD card, so that may help. Hopefully that's at least somewhat helpful. But yeah, let's go ahead. So we're going to go a little longer here. The next time it crashes, I'm going to say goodbye. I probably won't come back on. I'll just say goodbye in the comment board. So again, pretty cool, but not when it crashes. So let's see. Go back to YouTube Studio here. I don't think I'm showing you guys anything that is too private. Let's see, let's go to our videos. All right, so we were in the DeskView R5. Let's go to the Cine i2 Pro, which we're actually using right now on this camera over here, and then you can see the receiver right here. So we're gonna go to that video. If we don't crash first, there's a lot of flickering. So much flickering. Comments. Great review, already bought one, thank you. Well, hey, thanks for joining on here, Jonathan. Glad you bought one. I hope it's served you well. Let's turn these filters off. Okay, actually, excuse me. I had a comment straight from Axoon, the manufacturer, on this one. I want to actually point out something. So they said very professional view, thanks, blah, blah, blah. The delay for the transmitter HDMI into the receiver HDMI out is about 0.06 seconds. Please check. So the delay from my hand waving coming back to you, to your monitor where you actually see it, or to the live stream, is not 0.6 seconds. It's actually more like 200 milliseconds. So if I go to camera 2 here, I'm trying to think of a way to show you guys the actual delay. If you look, it's really hard to see, but this monitor down here will show you, if you watch my arm move, I'm gonna do like the whole whatever this thing is, but if you see it, there's a delay in there. It's about 200 milliseconds. And that delay is not just in the transmitter. The other place that delay is going to be in is actually the camera itself. So when you go out, we'll just pretend like this is the camera we're using right now for it, but if you go out from the camera and into what would be the transmitter, okay. So what I was trying to say, we're going to get off here after this because this RTX, or not RTX, ugh, that's the other one, the 3700 is awful. The delay is in the camera because you're using HDMI. That's where you use SDI. That's why a lot of professionals, like true professionals, use SDI. HDMI works really well, but it does have its quirks. The signal's not as good, and there is a delay there. The camera creates that. So the camera probably had 100 milliseconds, and then the transmitter probably had a lot less. And you combine those together, and then your HDMI leaving the transmitter to your monitor, wherever it's going, and you get that 200 to 300 millisecond delay. So manufacturers talk about their delay being 0.06 seconds. Well, that would maybe be true, but in the real world, from the lens to your monitor screen, your eyes, that delay is 200 to 300 milliseconds. And when you're pulling focus, that kind of thing matters. So yes, they are one of the fastest I've seen for HDMI, but there is an additional delay, and a lot of that has to do with your camera. So this is where I'm going to actually end this stream. Sorry, this was short. I'm going to leave this up for a couple days, but I am going to take it down because I know it's a little painful with all the disconnects we've had here. I'm going to replace this whatever video card, this 3070, yeah. So I'm going to replace it with something else and see if that fixes the problem. I'll let you guys know in the next couple days what's up. If you see another live stream, that's probably what it's going to be about. So yeah, we will be back soon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.